Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this nice lightweight summer shawl here. It's got 3 tassels on it. I don't have a lot of room to show you, but there's our picture in front of the video you probably saw. It's got some picots around the edge there. Just a nice little gentle touch. And it's got 3 tassels, 1 on each corner of the shawl. So it's actually really pretty easy. It's a simple 3-row repeat. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you subscribe, don't forget to hit the little bell next to the subscribe button so you never miss any of my tutorials. Or I do a lot of giveaways and yarn shopping trips and all kinds of cool stuff that has to do with crochet. So I'd really appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, for this project I'm using Lion Brand Ombre Life. It is a number fine 2 weight. There's 437 yards in this skein, and 1 skein will be enough to finish this shawl, unless of course you want to make it bigger, then you'll need another skein. It's a 50-50 acrylic cotton blend. It's really nice to work with. It consists of 4 strands, which I'll show you here, that you work with. They're unwound, so you have to work with them like this, unwound. And once you get the hang of it, it's not hard. This is not the color that I used. The color I used was called Date Night. Here it is. That's the color I use, but of course you can use any color that you wish. And then I'm going to be using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. This is a super easy shawl. I think you'll be able to do it, even if you're a beginner. As long as you can get past working with these 4 separate strands. But really, it's not hard once you get the hang of it. It's just keeping your tension a little bit tighter. So we're going to start off with a chain of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work 2 double crochets right back into that very first stitch. 2 doubles. So there's 1 and there's 2. So that little chain here on the end also counts as a double, so it's like we have 3 doubles there. So now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 3 more doubles back into that same chain space. Just like that, and that'll end row 1, and you'll have 6 stitches there, 6 double crochets. Probably pull that tail and close that up a little bit. So now we're going to start row 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this very first stitch here, and we're going to put 2 double crochets right into it, the very first one. So there's 1 and 2. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get to our chain space. So it'll be 1 double crochet here into the next 2 stitches, and then we'll be at our chain space. And when we get to our chain 2 space here, what we want to do is work 2 double crochets, a chain of 2, and then 2 more double crochets. That's what we're always going to work in our chain 2 space. That's going to be the point of the shawl. And now we're going to work 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, or until we get to our last stitch here. Want to make sure you go through all those little strings. You don't want to miss any of them. And then when you get to this last stitch, it's actually that chain from when we very first started. Go ahead right into the top of it and work 2 double crochets. just like that. And that'll end row 2. And you should have 12 stitches now at the end of the row. Row 3, 4, and 5 is actually the repeat rows for the whole poncho. So we're going to work row 3 now. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to go right back into the very first stitch and put 2 double crochets. We always put 2 doubles into the very first stitch, no matter what row you're on. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and double crochet into the next. And then we're going to repeat that, chain 2, skip 2, and then we'll be at our point here. So in our point, we're going to put 2 double crochets, chain up 2, oops, sometimes I miss one of those, and 2 more double crochets. And that's what we do every point. That's what it always gets. Now we're going to do a chain of 2, skip 2 stitches, so skip, skip, and double crochet into the next, and we're going to repeat that until we get to our last stitch. Chain 2, we'll actually skip 2, we'll be at our last stitch, 2 double crochets into that last stitch. It's always, no matter what row you're on, 2 double crochets in the last. So it's always 2 double crochets in the first, 2 double crochets in the last. So this is how you count your stitches on the chain stitch row. You count the stitches. Every chain 2 here counts as 2 stitches, except for the point. It does not count. It never counts, so I hope that's not confusing. So we got 1, 2. This chain 2 counts as 2 stitches, so that'd be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This does not count as anything, the point. So it would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 stitches. So every round you're going to have 6 more stitches than you had the round before or the row before. So now we're going to repeat, or we're going to start row 4. Just chain 1 and turn your work. 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Always start 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Then it's 1 double crochet right here into the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets right through this chain 2 space. So 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and we just kind of repeat that. 2 double crochets into the next chain 2 space, one double crochet into these next stitches until you get to your chain 2 space. Now when you get to your chain 2 space, it's always 2 double crochets into that space, so 2 doubles, a chain of 2, and then 2 more doubles. That's what it always is at the point of your shawl. And then we need to start off again by putting 1 double crochet in every stitch and into every chain 2 space till we get to the end. So 1 double in every stitch, 2 doubles in every chain 2 space, double in the next stitch, 2 doubles into the next chain 2 space, double into the next stitch, and then the last stitch is going to get 2 double crochets. Remember, always 2 doubles into the last stitch. That's what makes our triangle grow. And now you should have 6 more stitches than you did the row before, so now you should have a total of 24 stitches at the end of round 4. So round 5, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're just going to kind of repeat again. We're going to start off with 2 double crochets into the very first stitch, 1 double in every stitch until we get to our chain 2 space. Okay, I made it to my chain 2 space, and as always, I'm going to put 2 doubles, chain of 2 again, and 2 more doubles. And now I'm going to start off putting 1 double crochet into the first stitch and 1 double crochet into every stitch until I get to my last stitch. Just like this. Made it to the end. I got 1 stitch left. Always 2 doubles into that last stitch. And you should have 6 more stitches than the row before, so now you should have a total of 30 stitches. And now we're just going to repeat rows 3, 4, and 5 for the rest of the poncho until we get ready to put the edging on. So you just repeat row 3, which is the chain 2 row, or the chain space row, by chaining 1 and turn. Always 2 doubles into the very first stitch. And then you would chain 2, skip 2, double crochet into the next, and repeat that. Chain 2, skip 2, double crochet into the next, and you would repeat that until you get to your chain 2 space, and then you do your 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, and just keep that's it. Repeat rows 3 through 5. Okay, I went ahead and done a total of excuse me, 35 rows here, starting from row 1. So I did 35, and I ended here with the, here was my chain spaces, and then I did 2 rows the double crochet afterwards. So it was a total of 35. I'm going to do some picot stitches around the edge. Now this is how much yarn I have left. I wasn't quite sure if I had enough to do another repeat of the 3 rows, so I'm just going to quit there. You can always do more if you want. It's completely up to you. You can make it as large as you want. You can add another skein of this ombre yarn and make it huge if you want. That's up to you. But after 35, I didn't tie off or anything. I'm going to do some picot around the edge. So what I'm going to do here, my 35th row here, I just did my 2 double crochets into that last stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work around here. Okay, what we're going to do now for the picot edge is we're going to put 1 single crochet into the very first stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to put a picot on this stitch. So a picot is we're going to chain 3, and then we go back right into the top of this same stitch. I kind of like to go right here in the side like that and slip stitch, and that's going to make a little point or a little ball. Make sure you get all your strings through there just like that, and then go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch, and that'll lock that picot down. So that's what it kind of looks like. The little picot. It's just a little ball, a little decoration. So I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, and I'm going to put a picot on this one again. So I'm going to chain 3 and slip stitch. I always slip stitch into the top of this stitch. Now some people slip stitch into the first chain. That's fine if you want to do that. I don't do that. I think it holds better if you grab the sides of your single crochet and then slip stitch like that. Single crochet into the next stitch, and that will lock that picot down just like that. So now you got 2 picots. And if you don't like this edging, you know, feel free to just do whatever you want. You don't have to put this on here. It's your shawl. You make it however you want. So I'm going to go into the next stitch and single crochet, and I'm going to picot on top of this single. So I'm going to chain 3, slip stitch into the top of this single. I go right through the side of it and slip. It's a little harder with these 4 strings, but see, I missed them all. Let me do that again. There we go. And then single crochet into the next stitch, just like that. And now that's the pattern I'm going to repeat all the way down until I get to my point. So it'll be single crochet into the next stitch and picot on this stitch. That is hard to slip stitch with all them. I didn't think it'd be that hard. I'm struggling. There we go. Now single crochet into the next. I think once I do it more, I'll get used to it. Single crochet into the next and picot on this one. Yeah, the more picots you do, the easier it'll be to get all them loops through that slip stitch. Plus I'm nervous because I'm on camera. And then single into the next. Just like that. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way down until you get to your point. Okay, I've made it down here to my chain 2 space. My last stitch was a picot. You can see it right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and single crochet into the space once. And then I'm going to single crochet again and do a picot. So 1, 2, 3, slip stitch right back down like that. Then I'm going to single crochet again, and then I'm going to single crochet again and do the picot. And then I'm going to single crochet one more time into that space. And then I'll single crochet right here into the next stitch, and that's where I'll do my picot. And that's where I'll continue my pattern again, or my repeat of what we've been doing. So in this chain 2 space, what we did was we ended in a picot on this last double. So we single crocheted, picot, single crocheted, picot, and then single crocheted. And then we moved over to our first stitch over here and single crocheted with the picot. Now we're just going to continue what we've been doing. So I'll single crochet into my next stitch to lock that picot down, and then single crochet into the next one and do a picot on it. So we're just continuing up this side of the shawl what we did on the other side. Single crochet into the next stitch to lock that picot down, single crochet into the next stitch, and picot. So it's the same thing we did on the other side, and we're going to repeat that until we get up to the top. So that's kind of what it's looking like. Okay, I've come to the end. I did a picot here and I got 1 stitch left. I'm just going to go ahead and do a single crochet into that last stitch, just 1 single crochet, and I'm going to tie this off and I'm going to hide my tails. Okay, now I'm going to make 3 tassels here to put on. You do not have to do that if you don't want to, but if you do, you want to grab something. I have this credit card here, or gift card here, that I've never even bought for my boys, and they haven't even used it yet, but I'm just going to use that to wrap around. So, you know, credit card or something. And you just count how, it depends on how long you want your tassels. Just wrap it and count how many times you wrap. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wrap mine for 42 times. Now you could do yours more or less depending on how thick you want your tassels. Okay, I did 42, but you know, you can do 50 or whatever. Just make sure you do the same on every one. Now clip your yarn there. Now what you want to do is take another piece of yarn, probably about 6 inches or 8 inches or so, and put it right through here, one side, and tie it up here at the top. Get your pieces even. Now you can use a piece of cardboard or something to ground. It doesn't have to be anything. I usually just grab what I can find that looks about the same length that I want. Now you want to tie a knot right up here. Nice tight knot. I'll do it one more time. Now you want to leave these strings on here because that's what we're going to tie them onto the shawl with. That. Now I'm going to slide this off like that and kind of straighten it out. Kind of looks like Cousin It now off the Addams Family. Okay, now take another piece, probably about the same length, put it underneath like that, and just however far down you want your tassel. I usually go about 1 inch down to tie my tassel, and tie a knot again, nice and tight. Now you can just kind of let them hang like that, and then take it and cut your yarn here where it's together like that, and then trim these up, any long pieces. Remember to leave this one up here at the top. Don't trim that, that's to tie it on with. So trim this up for as long or as short as you'd like it to be, like that. And then we can tie it onto our piece. I got 3 tassels, so I tied one right down here at the point in between these two picots there, and then tied one up here, and I'm going to tie one at the other side, the other top point. And that's how I tie them on, is I just, same way, I just kind of knot it on. So I just grab this last stitch up here, or somewhere near it, it doesn't have to be perfect, and I pull one of my threads through. Actually, go from the top, pull your thread through. So you got one through the hole, one knot, and just leave a little bit of space however far you want it to hang. I got mine hanging probably about 1/2 inch. Tie knots. So yeah, about like that. Tie it again, nice and tight. I'll do it again so it doesn't come undone. Now if you want, instead of clipping these short, you can take these and kind of weave them through if you want, just to make sure they don't come undone. I might put one more little knot. I'm just gonna clip mine because I don't really do anything with my shawls. I don't wear them, so I doubt anybody will ever be wearing it. So I'm just gonna clip mine off here like that, and that is it. Shawl is done after you have all your tails hidden. I have a couple more to hide. That's all there is to it. I think it turned out beautiful. I don't have much space to show you. I'll try to lay it out here. Get it all situated here. It's very pretty. That yarn is very pretty. The picots on the edges, you can straighten them up a bit, really kind of added a nice gentle touch to it. And then the tassels hanging here. I'll get a better picture on my mannequin so you can see it. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to check me out on Facebook too. You can post all your crochet items on there too. I actually have 2 different Facebook pages. I'll put links to both of those below in the description box. And also don't forget to check me out on bagodaycrochet.com. And until next time, have a good day.